anything's great if you'd like it to be. All things are better when you're not around, and when you are around, they aren't as good as they used to be. Why is that? Oh boy. Fucking oh boy. Honest update. I've been laying in bed for a long time. Just super fucking exhausted. It's like one of those days where you get up, well, you try to get up, and you just are so tired. Doesn't matter how much sleep you get, doesn't matter what you do, you're just exhausted. You're tired. So, I've been kind of trying to just you know, trying to just figure it out, how to get up, how to do things. It's so weird, man. As you get going, sometimes it just gets a little harder to figure it out. What is it even? Is it depression? Is it just sleepiness? Is it, I don't know, whatever else? Who fucking knows, man? What, like a sickness? Oh, I don't know. But anyway, I've been wanting to do things today since I originally woke up at like 6 something, but I laid back down again till about almost 11. I remember I came in here and I was about ready, like, come on, man, let's go. We gotta edit the fucking book. And I just like took one look at like the sentence and I was like, this is too much. I'm gonna go lay down again. I'm tired. But what I could talk about is Jesus, and just kidding. So I actually have been having a bit of a difficult time, I guess you could say, but not on my behalf. I've been kind of really frustrated and saddened, I guess would be a good way to say it. I had a recently family member pass away, which it would be some sort of cousin. I don't know exactly how that works. It's like my grandfather's brother's child, so like a cousin, I assume, for me. And anyway, he largely, I never even knew he existed. You know, like that part of a family you might have, you don't even know who they are, even though that's pretty close. You know what I mean? Like to the source of the family tree, if you will, if you want to call it that. And for a while, it just like it's been bothering me slowly. It's upsetting, I guess, because I believe, just some of the things that I've been kind of slowly uncovering about him. He might have been a really great person, but not a lot of friends. I think he was single. He was 54 when he died. I don't think he was ever in a relationship. I don't know. If, as far as I understand it, no. And he took care of his father. And so it's like, I felt instantly guilty. I'm like, God. How did that one slip through? And so I just been kind of, it's taken me harder than I ever realized it could, I guess, feeling very upset by it. So I've been trying to figure out who he is, and it's so stupidly difficult even in the modern era because of how little my family keeps in contact with each other. So I found a little bit of stuff of him here and there, and it looks like he liked video games and he liked fantasy stuff. It seems like that's what he was playing. I think I saw he liked some game called Jesus, I don't know. The New Order, the New World, or some, I don't know, some sort of online multiplayer fantasy game, and Medieval Dynasty and other games and stuff. And so I was like, oh, he enjoys that kind of stuff, and he, you know, was really into music and this and that. And I just felt like, wow, it's so crazy that this person existed and we never bumped into each other. In fact, we live in the same town. That's how like little in contact. That's, to me, is insane. That you live, it's not like we live, oh, we both live in New York. I get it. No, we live in a tiny town that you could walk across in 2 hours. Like, this whole time. We could have bumped into each other in the grocery store and I would not have known. So that, to me, is a little bit unforgiving in my head to myself. And as you may not know, or may know, I don't know, Jacob, who's on this channel as well, is a similar cousin. He's his grandfather and my grandfather were brothers. So we're cousins. Second cousin, I guess is what they would call. Yeah, because my dad and his dad are first cousins. And we didn't even know each other existed until we met each other. And so it's like we would always talk about our family and like, you know, who the fuck is our family and why are we, there's the division that we have, and largely forgotten. Because I would always feel like, man, that's like growing up out here, all these things about my mom's side, like, oh yeah, they were writers and they were they got into politics and they tried to help people in philanthropy in their own rights, and they came from this great heritage, you know, all the way back, and you know, from the from the Danish people, and you know, going into the Canadians and all this. I don't know. I was always just kind of shown like they were fought in wars and they were honorable people, this and that, and so. And they were artists, and then on this side, and I'd always hear that, and I'd look at the Baker side, I'm like, oh yeah, they're just a bunch of like fucking nobodies that did nothing. And it's like, I guess his death in my eyes was an eye-opening thing of like, though he wasn't the most intelligent person in the world or the most creative artistically and stuff, like there was potential there, but it was almost like suppressed, if you will. And then I just look at this whole side of my family, this Baker side, which is where me and Jacob come from, which is my last name, and I'm thinking, how many more are like that? How many more just quietly withered away, unknown, even to their own kin? Like, that, to me, it's been bothering me. It's been really hard on me, trying to solve these problems in my head. I'm like, who are these fucking people? Like, he passed away by himself. He died at 54 years old. There was history of him going to the hospital, complaining of breathing issues and stuff, and then, you know, hospitals are, they don't give a fuck, they just send you home. And he finally went this time, and he died there. Because something to do with fluid in his lungs. Nobody was notified. Everyone kind of it just was accidentally found out. And as I finally found out, he was already buried in the ground. You know, he had nobody. That's what was tough for me. It's just thinking like, being alone like that. And then when I discovered he has a YouTube channel, I think, and he plays video games on it, okay? And it's like, I could hear it in his voice, that it was just him wanting to be something that he wasn't, you know? There's a whole thing, and it, like, I'm a very compassionate person, right? So I'm gonna be fucking upset by that stuff. I can't just go like, yeah, sometimes it happens. You know how some numb fuckers are. But for me, it's been really difficult to process all this. I don't know him. I don't know him at all. I don't know his father. But when I found out that he passed away and he took care of his elderly father, I'm like, who's taking care of him now? Like, what's going on with him? So I'm waiting on Jacob to get back to me, because we're going to try to find out and see if he's okay. You know, like, what's going on with him. And so it's like, it's just very, it's just a very upsetting way to go. Just listening to him, I bet we would have been good friends. Just how he sounded in these videos, I guess. You know, he sounded like a good, sweet person. I can't help but think of the word sweet. You know how you just meet someone and it doesn't matter what gender they are, there's just a sweetness about them and you really appreciate that. That's what I sensed. He had a bit of a speech impediment, and that probably helps, you know, but he just seemed like a really kind person that just was forgotten. Like left behind, if you will. Now, I don't even know. I think he's got siblings. I don't have a clue what's going on with any of them. I'm trying to find these fucking people. This is like family, you know, this is like, we should kind of know of each other. Why the fuck don't we? It's so weird. And I know that probably everybody feels this way. I get it. But in my mind, like, as how I feel for myself, I take for granted, like, having family. It's just like, yeah, of course you fucking have family. Why wouldn't you? Like, you're all born and life happens and people branch out and a man meets another woman and then there goes another branch. Like, I get that, like, you know, but I think it's so special. It's so incredibly special to say, like, you and these group of people all come from this person. You know, like, that man that passed away, his name was Chad. We share the same great-grandfather. That's pretty fucking cool. Like, we have the same one. This person I've never met before. We share like that. If that man didn't live, we wouldn't be here. That man had children and here we are. Like, is that not fucking crazy, you know? Or like me and Jacob, again, same great-grandfather. Like, how is that not fucking sacred? How is that not special? That we don't feel that way about it. That's just been kind of like on my mind for the past few days, and that's probably why I am not sleeping very well. More so than usual, I'm afraid to admit, and that's probably why I'm so just bothered, you know, like, it's crazy, man. It's so crazy, like, how life can be, and certain things can really halt you and just make you really realize whatever it is you need to realize in that moment. And like, yeah, I did that. I don't know. Just something that's been kind of going on for me as of late, I should say. I hate it. And I don't like how people are just like, yeah, this is how it is. Everyone deals with this. Well, then fucking let's not anymore. Like, that kind of shit pisses me off when people just accept things. You know? I don't like that shit. I get so fucking irritated when people accept bullshit. And it's, you know, unfortunately, a lot of it's built on misunderstanding. Oh, we don't talk to Uncle Jim because Uncle Jim's, you know, or whatever, you know. Whatever it is in your family. there's always these groups of like, we don't talk to them because, you know, or yeah, I don't know, we just lost contact, or, you know, whatever it is that happens. I asked my father yesterday. I was like, my dad, his father passed away when he was 20-ish. I wasn't born yet. So, he grew up without a dad when he became a dad, right? So he never got to have it. Like, this is hard for me. As he was learning to be a father, he didn't have his father to tell him how to be one. He didn't have this example like that. He could only kind of reflect backwards. So that was going on for him, and I was like, did anyone even like fucking like contact you and try to, like, you know, like, did anyone even, like, give a fuck, it seemed like? Meaning my father's, so my grandfather, his brothers, my great uncles, you think they would fucking step in and say, holy shit, my brother just died and you're his kid, I am, you know, so sorry. Like, no, none of that. Maybe a little bit from what he said, but nothing. And so he grew up as a father, not knowing how to be a father. And that's why he was largely absent in my life. And I never really got a lot of positive role modeling in that sense. Which then affects me in this new fucking branch of life. So it's like, I didn't have a grandfather on either side. I didn't really have any uncles that were like, hey man, like, I'm gonna show you how to blah blah blah. And my dad was always gone working, so I never really had a male role model growing up. So that sets me in my fucking difficult path. And what I'm trying to say is how the wound can carry. Because of this wound that happened a generation ago, look how it affects just me. Now, I don't have kids. I don't know if I ever will. But if I do, like, what wound will I, like, you know, what new variant of that wound? And so in my mind, I'm thinking, well, we have to start healing these wounds. We have to do something about it. And for me, the first step is like, why are we not talking to each other? Why is our family splintered? We're like a fucking clan. You know what I mean? Like, in a sense, we're a group of people, like, we're kin. This should be sacred as fuck. We should, like, this should be fucking meaningful to us, but it's not. And so that can go back God knows how far. And I mix that with the whole, as I said before, like the Baker side of my family, no one ever really talked about them ever being anything intelligent. They were just fucking men that were like, well, he came to work every day. He's a good hard worker, like, fantastic. But what else did he do? Well, he drank a bit and this and that, like, you know, that kind of stuff. Like, no, I don't know anything positive from them, ever. I've never heard anything. Like, oh yeah, this guy, he was a painter. This person, who was a fucking writer. It's like, I never heard anything like that. So I didn't get that shit. And growing up for me, that's, you know, I always talk about, like, oh, I was never into writing when I was young, or I was never into drawing or this and that. I was stupid. I was a stupid fucking person. I just played video games and played stuff outside as a kid, and that's really about it. And I was such a stupid fucking person that even in my teenage years, because that's all I ever knew was just how to, like, don't fucking study history, don't fucking paint and all that shit. Like, it's you know, I can just hear that side of my family saying it's fag shit, you know. And for me, I was always like a really sensitive kid, and so eventually I became this person because I kept looking and looking and looking and saying, like, you know, I have no role models into how to do this, so I gotta figure out how to fucking do it. And that's caused me to be where I am now. So you can see some benefits. I search deeply through people's pain to help them, and I try as hard as I can to make whatever art I'm involved in the best I can be, at least in my hands. It's created that person, but, like, what if there was another someone like me in my family that I never got to meet? Or they were like, kind of like, oh, that's Brother Jeffrey. Nobody talks to him. He's the weirdo. And you find out, like, oh, because he paints, you know, or something like that. I never got to meet anyone like that on that side of the family. On my other side of the family, there was all these great things, but it fell to ruin on my mom's side. They all became, when they died off, the younger generations just, that end, my mother's side of the line has ended. There's not going to be a continuation of that. The Davis going all the way back and to the Wades and all this great grand things for naught. It was all for nothing. That family side. And, like, it just, I don't know, that shit just bothers the fuck out of me. my heritage and like how it came to this point, this pinnacle point. I swear to God, I feel it. It comes, and I feel that fucking weight on my shoulders. And it's like, hence why I'm so hard on myself all the fucking time with everything I do. But I feel it because I still don't have a fucking heir, if you will, a child. And like, the line is shattered and scattered. And it's absolutely horrible. And for me, aspects of that I can see written in my story, like the whole fucking descendant line shit. Like, that's the fucking point of that. It's just like, you're the last one, man. You got this. You better figure it the fuck out. Like, well, I don't know how. No one ever taught me. Like, congratulations. Now figure it out. And so that's what my character is gonna gotta go through, being the last of this line. But what does that fucking mean? And so as my character goes through it, that's kind of what I have to go through. You know, it's not a shocker to say that the book was revolved around the way I think and feel. So hence why book 2 isn't written. I'm going through it now. The realization of who it is to be this person, what it is to carry on a line of your family. What does that even mean? You can live life just living life and that shit doesn't matter and that's cool and everything, but who cares? I'm gonna live life. Or you can live life as like a clan, as like, okay, like this shit, what they did all matters, and it boils up to this point, and like here you are, like, make a name for yourself. I tend to want to stick to that side a little bit more. I don't know why. It's built in me. It's something that needs to be done, and I guess this death of this person I've never met, that's affected me. This helped me realize all this. I kind of always felt this way, and it was always swimming and swimming and swimming and swimming, and then this death happens, and it just comes to one and says, here's that fucking thing, all wrapped in a bow of how you feel. And I open it and I realize, like, this is everything I'm saying in this video. You've always felt this way, but now this is put together. And what are you going to do about that? I know I'm supposed to do something. I think I've said it before. I don't know how big or small. I don't know. But I know I'm supposed to do something. Something to put a stamp next to my name. And I'm thinking that this book is it. Because this is the only thing I've been kind of doing my entire 20s. So this has to be it. In conjunction with the other things of trying to unify my family again and trying to do these other things I'm doing on the side. I'm sure that's involved too, but this book is the main fucking component of that. It is the vehicle within this thing. And so that's why it fucking matters, and that's why it's gotta be perfect, and it's gotta be exactly the way I feel it has to be. Not necessarily the grammatical perfection, but I just mean like what the story's about, what it's trying to say, what the character goes through, and all this emotional stuff. Like, it's supposed to lead you to these realizations of life. The written story. I was talking about it like 2 videos ago, like what the real story is and how separate it is from the world. It really is. It's, the world's great, everything's happening, but this story is this realization. It was my intention to take the hero's journey to a fucking different level of, like, personal level. I don't want you to read this and say, like, oh wow, here's the hero going to become the hero. I wanted you to, like, read it and just say, like, I don't even know how he can. I don't know how he's doing this. This is ridiculous. This is horrible. I want you to cheer for his folly, but then I want you to cheer for his triumph. I want you to just watch him go through this shit and just be feeling that part of yourself too. Like, that's what I really want. I want this whole thing to just, I put every bit of energy I got into shaping this character. I've said it to someone recently. I said, I put him through a lot. And I looked back after I texted that, because you can channel things and you can say and channel it, But then you start to hear yourself say it or see yourself say it in a text or something, and you're like, whoa, holy shit. And I thought about it, I'm like, I put him through fucking hell. I made this character to suffer. It was, and that started clicking all this shit in my head. You know, Jesus dying on the cross and all these common religious stories. I'm like, there's a connection here. There is some kind of fucking hidden truth in this. Not hidden malicious, but hidden forgotten. And I'm like, there is a deep connection here. What is the sacrifice of a person? What does that mean? And so this has set me off on some fucking journey, dude. One that most of the time I try not to say out loud because it's like, this video alone is already going to be, you know, harder to listen to, but it gets fucking deeper than that with the shit that I'm like, holy fuck, this is all connecting. Maybe I'll do a really long one here because this is something that I don't know how much I went into. I think I did, but I want to go into it again. Because it makes sense and why everything I just said makes sense to me. You know, the family, the story, and everything, you know, everything I just said. For many years now, over 12, I've talked about the hand of God, remember? Well, I feel that. I really do. I feel this divine hand that isn't necessarily intrusively, well, it kind of is. It isn't outwardly, like, prevalent. Like, every fucking day, like, every time I try to take a step, it gets in the way, like, you know what I mean? It's more just quietly ushering me, I guess, to my destination. And I feel that every time I'm led astray, mentally or physically. I feel it just placed in front of me, like, no, this way. Every time. And I don't go into it with people. I don't explain this to my friends. Like, why are we not talking right now? Like, I gotta go over here. I don't know. It's really crazy, right? And for the longest time, I'm like, this is not real. This can't be real. But it would always remind me that it is. And it happened it started to really happen after a moment of realization. And that moment of realization was, I didn't have a job. I must have been, golly, what was I, like 20 maybe? 20, no, maybe like after 21, 22. I couldn't tell you. I really couldn't tell you. Probably after 22. No, I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't remember. But anyway, I was walking to school. And it was a 2-hour walk to college. I was walking to college. I didn't have a vehicle, I didn't have anything. I was broke, I didn't have a job, I had no money. So I would walk to college because I wanted to do better. I wanted to get this arts degree, goddammit. And so I had this English class and I got a 4.0 in it. I'd never got anything like that in my life. I was always the 1.3 GPA kid. I was just a stupid kid growing up. But anyway, on my walks during the summertime, or whatever it was hot. I don't know if it was summer because I don't know when school happens. I don't keep track. But I just remember it being swelteringly hot. I'd have to like have a change of clothes because the journey had just ended to get there. Now the journey begins to use this. Like, you know, that kind of shit. And so as I was doing that, I would take these like rests on these shaded areas. And sometimes I would meditate. I would just sit and like, let's just like fucking chill. And I remember that's when the meditations were really intense in my life. They were very intense when I was doing them. Just the shit I would see, feel, and think. And like that was definitely the door being opened. I'll say that. Of my stupid fucking adolescence, of this retard kid that doesn't know how to do anything. That's when the door was opened. To which now you see this fucker here who doesn't know anything still, but is trying. Now, that door opening I remember the session. I remember sitting down meditating outside in this little park area under the trees. And I heard a voice tell me, plain and simple, I've said this in a couple videos ago, but it's true. You are a conduit. I just heard that, and that was that. And it was at that fucking point that I realized, well, I had to look up what conduit meant. You know, like, what's a conduit? I don't know. What the fuck does that mean? And it's something that something will pass through, essentially. I assume in terms of, in my life, I don't know. That's what I'm gonna guess that this voice meant. But okay, something's gotta channel through me. And I would try to like, okay, how do I be that? How does one become that? And it was this struggle, and so I would try to be that, even though I didn't know what that meant. And as I'm getting older and reflecting back, I would say the biggest portion of this conduit works through me in sense of someone else's pain. I talked about it before. When someone's hurting, I feel like when I talk to them, place my hand on them, or you know, whatever, I don't think that's me speaking to them. That feels like something else, because they'll always tell me like, wow, like that meant a lot, that was really special. And I'm like, yeah, I don't even know, I didn't fucking, half that shit I just said, that wasn't even me, that was come from somewhere else. And it feels that way. I don't fucking know like how to explain it. It just, something passes through me to help this person in that time of need. Or like that video I said about with the, you know, that one lady at the bookstore. Like I felt it kind of pass through me, and like, I gotta say this, I don't know why. But the biggest component of this is my book that I'm working on. It has to be, because that's the biggest thing I'm doing in my life. And every time I am doing something with it, I get this reward from this divine hand, in one way or another. I don't know what that, when that will come. It's subtle, and sometimes it's not so subtle. But I feel like somehow in this book, it's bigger than that. I don't know why I still call it a book, like the book. Like it's not. It's like, it's a fucking world. The more I realized that within this world is something that I was meant to do. And so I'm like, well, here we go. Like, of course. I pull every bit of pain, suffering, and just melancholy, sadness, whatever, all the darkness I feel around me. I pull that within myself. I place it in here, under a magnifying glass, if you will, where it's easy to read and you're separate from it. I get to study it, you know, and the realities of life can be found in it as well. And so I'm like, well, that's what I seek to really explore, are those aspects of life. I don't want to be this person. I just wanted to be a normal fucking dude. But for whatever reason, this is what I have to do. I don't sit down ever wanting to really talk. Like this shit I'm saying right now, I don't want to talk about this. This is not something that I enjoy, something that I want to tell people I do, or divulge any of this. This is the shit I hide all the time. But it's harder to hide it, because it's become more and more my personality. And if I'm staying quiet around people and I finally speak, and this is how I speak, like clearly this is who I am at this point. You know what I mean? This is just this is my life. And the hardest part about it is feeling suffering. Like I said about my cousin who passed away, I'm saddened by what his suffering was in this world. I feel it. It's horrible. You know, it's like, it's tormenting. It's so quiet. It's so small. But it just chips away a little bit. That torment. It's not outward. But it's built around that, and that fear took it. and that fear is the thing that very fear is the antagonist within the world that I'm building. I don't know, he's doing something over there. What are you doing? But anyway, that's my update for the day. What did you do? I heard you getting into something. Pretends like, I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea. I don't know what you're talking about. What did you do, Michael? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I definitely, again, like, I'm more than happy to, like, fucking open up about this shit. I've already felt like, yeah, we're different than some people, so it's okay. You know? So I'm, you know, I definitely can go into it more, but just know that that is the catalyst to the channel and the book. That's where it's coming from. This isn't just like, wouldn't it be really cute if, like, maybe we just, you know, like, no, it's like quietly just going like, I hate this, but it's gotta be done. I have to do it. In my book, I feel like Nakem, you know, which you'll get that when you actually read it. I just feel like him, just like, son of a fucking bitch. But okay. I don't know, man. I'm trying to, with that, I will not lie, it's a big burden. It's tiring. It's tiring slugging that shit around your back all the time. So that's why I'm not consistent about stuff, and probably why I joke around as much as I do, because I like to just kind of go off and not be so serious sometimes and joke around. That's all I do. I'll walk around the house and just joke around all fucking day to nobody. So that could be why, but that's my personality that's kind of formed from it. Just joke, and just to make it not feel so burdensome. But I mean, my, what's the word? Inconsistencies, that's where it comes from. It can be scattering and overwhelming. But, you know, the point of the channel, I guess, is what I'm getting at, is hard to define. It's so everywhere, and I'm trying to keep it focused. There's a battle that I'll have of like, what do people want to see, but what is authentic? You know, like, that's the battle I have, and I'm like, who cares about view counts? You know, I didn't come here for that. I had to come here and say, like, I want to just be this honest person. Like, what could happen? What could happen if I'm just completely honest about who I am in this modern era where you can just fucking record everything? What could happen? And so that's what this experiment is, and it's growing quietly. I don't know how it's growing quietly, because you can't even find me on YouTube, because you know how they suppress that shit when you don't get enough views. I don't know. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I have no idea how this is all happening, but I'm very grateful that there are certain people out there, apparently. I still lie to myself and say, no, it's you. You're watching your videos that many times. You and your friends. That's why. That's why there's the view counts going up. Yeah, I keep lying to myself and saying that. But if there is, like, anyone that doesn't know me watching this, how crazy is that? How absolute craziness that is. I'm a recluse, man. That's hard. That's hard for me to notice that. But I do greatly appreciate if that is happening. I'm still in the fantasy world. Like, it could be happening. Like, dude, it is. Like, no. We don't know that, though. But yeah, it's just mind blows. I don't know. This is not what it's just the whole thing. It's a whole thing. It's a whole feeling. Like, wow, dude, I don't know what's happening right now. But anyway, I'm gonna try to. I still haven't heard from Jacob yet because I'm sure he doesn't get out of bed till noon. But I'm gonna see if we can visit what would be my great uncle. I imagine, right? My grandfather's brother. I assume that's a great uncle. I don't know. Make sure he's doing okay. We gotta find him first. We gotta fucking figure out where he is. But we'll see what happens, and next time I'll make a video about me talking about something else stupid.